Hello and welcome to today's episode on Part 1 of Pricing, Considerations and Approaches. My name is Rayan Zahoor and the subject expert is Dr. Arshia Hussain, PhD in Human Resource Management and teaching in the Department of Commerce and Business Studies, Jamia Millia Islamia, New Delhi. Price is the amount of money paid for a product or a service. It is the sum of the value that consumers pay for having or being able to use the product or service. According to David J. Schwartz, all organizations that are set up to make profit and many not-for-profit organizations must set up a certain price for all their products and services. Price has many different names. Rent is paid for an apartment. A fee is paid for education in schools, colleges and institutions. The transport industry charges its customers a fare. Banks charge an interest on the money that its customers borrow. The insurance companies charge a premium, and the price for driving a car on certain highways is a toll. Lawyers charge a retainer for their services, and the property dealer charges a commission. An executive in an organization is paid a salary and a daily worker is paid wages. Price has historically been the major factor affecting buying decisions. This still holds true in poorer countries and also among poorer groups in developing and developed countries. This is also true with commodity products globally among all groups. However, there are several non-price factors that have become increasingly important in affecting buyer choice in the recent decades. Factors that affect pricing. Pricing is the only component of the marketing mix that creates revenue. All other components constitute costs. Price is the most flexible component of the marketing mix as well and can be changed quickly. However, pricing and the competition based on pricing is the primary problem faced by most marketing executives. Despite this, a lot of organizations do not handle pricing properly. The mistakes that organizations most commonly make are that their pricing is largely cost oriented, prices are not revised on a regular basis and do not reflect changes in the market, their pricing does not incorporate the other components of the marketing mix, their prices do not vary enough based on different products and market segments. An organization's pricing decisions are impacted by factors that are internal to it as well as external. Internal factors that affect pricing decisions. These include the marketing objectives of the organization, their marketing mix strategy, their costs and their organization. Marketing objectives. An organization must decide on its strategy for their products before setting its price. If an organization has chosen its target market and its market positioning after careful analysis, then its pricing will not be complicated. For example, if an automobile manufacturer plans to launch a new sports car and they want to compete with European sports cars in the luxury segment, then they need to charge a high price for that car. Another example is if a hotel positions itself as a provider of economical rooms targeting budget travelers, they will need to charge a low price. These examples highlight that pricing strategy is generally determined by the organization's decision on their marketing positioning. An organization could look at additional objectives while setting the price. If they have clarity about their objectives, it becomes easier to set the price. Some common objectives that organizations seek are survival, increasing their market share, maximizing their current profit, and leadership in product quality. If an organization is facing trouble from aspects such as overcapacity, extreme competition, or rapidly changing consumer wants, then they generally set survival as their primary objective. In such a situation, the organization would set low prices in the hope of increasing demand. Profits are not as important as survival. If they can recover variable costs and some part of their fixed costs through low pricing, they will be able to stay in business. However, this can only be a short-term objective to tide over the difficult period. Their long-term strategy must incorporate adding value to their products and earning a profit. Some organizations want to increase their market share and become market leaders. The basis of this objective lies in their belief that owning the largest market share will lead to the lowest costs and highest profits in the long term. To achieve their objectives, such organizations set prices that are as low as possible. Several companies want to maximize their current profit and set that as their primary objective. They assess the demand and corresponding costs at different price levels and select the price that they believe will give them the maximum current profit or return on investment. There are some organizations that want to achieve leadership in product quality. This allows them to charge a higher price for their products. In some cases, there is an increase in costs too due to better quality raw material and additional costs in R&D that needs to be covered by charging higher prices. Sometimes organizations use price to achieve some other more specific objectives. They could match their competitors' prices to stabilize the market or set low prices in an attempt to stop new competitors from entering the market. Prices can be used by organizations to maintain the loyalty and support of their distribution partners or resellers, and also to avoid any intervention from the government. Temporary reduction of prices can create excitement for a certain product and can attract more customers to a retail store. Sometimes the pricing of one product helps in increasing the sales of other products in an organization's product line and sometimes in a retail store. For example, Big Bazaar often significantly reduces the prices of onions and milk. This brings customers to the store and they end up buying many more products during their visit. Pricing could play a key role in helping an organization in achieving its objectives at many levels. Not-for-profit companies and public organizations could pursue several other pricing objectives. A university might target partial cost recovery through the fee that it charges if it gets regular grants to take care of its expenses. A not-for-profit hospital could target the complete recovery of its expenses through its pricing. A social service organization could set prices to incorporate the variation of income situations of its different clients. Marketing mix strategy. The marketing mix of an organization consists of several tools that they use to achieve their marketing objectives. Pricing is just one of them. Decisions on price need to be in sync with several other aspects like distribution, product design, and promotion campaigns in order to create a marketing program that is both consistent and effective. Decisions that are taken for the other components of the marketing mix could affect pricing decisions. An example of this could be when a manufacturer is using several resellers who need to support and promote a specific product. The manufacturer will have to build a larger margin into their prices for the resellers. Another example is when an organization decides to position a product as a high performance quality product. They will need to charge a higher price for this product. Organizations sometimes position their products based on price and then align their marketing mix decisions according to the price they want to charge. Price in this situation becomes significantly important for product positioning and defines the market, competition and design of the product. Several companies support price positioning strategies like this with a technique called target costing. This can be a potent strategic weapon and reverses the general process of first designing a product and then determining its costs. This technique begins with an ideal selling price for a product and then targeting their costs in a way that will ensure that the price is met. Compaq computers call this process design to price. At one point of time, they were getting beaten by their competitors for years over price. Compaq used this technique and created Prolinia line of computers which were priced lower than their rivals and turned out to be highly successful. Their marketing team set a target price in alignment with profit margin goals from the leadership. The design team established the costs that they could incur to enable them to charge the target price. Everything else was based on this crucial calculation. The design team negotiated with the other departments that were responsible for different aspects of the new product line and also with the suppliers of required parts and materials. Their engineers designed a product with simpler and fewer parts. The manufacturing team upgraded its factories to reduce production costs. Compaq met its target costs and was successful in bringing down their prices to the target price and achieve the desired price positioning. They were able to capture a large market share using this strategy. Other companies put a lower emphasis on price and use other tools in their marketing mix to create a non-price position. To charge a higher price by differentiating the product and making it worth that price is often a good strategy instead of charging the lowest price. Marketers need to view the total marketing mix while setting prices. Products that are not positioned on price factors need a different approach. Decisions regarding their quality, promotion and distribution will have a big impact on the price. For products that have price as the primary positioning factor need a different approach. Price will have a large impact on decisions related to the other elements of the marketing mix as well. However, marketers must always keep in mind that customers rarely buy on the basis of price alone. They look for products that give them the best value, which is generally assessed in terms of benefits received against the price paid. Therefore, in most cases, organizations consider price along with all the other elements of marketing mix when they develop their marketing program. Costs. Costs provide the base for the price that an organization can charge for its products or services. Ideally, an organization would like to charge a price that covers all its cost of production, distribution and sales for a product and provides an equitable rate of return for all the efforts made and the risks taken. Costs incurred by an organization are an important component of its pricing strategy. Several companies make an effort to become low-cost producers in the industry. Companies that incur low costs have the option of reducing their prices and benefit from increased sales and higher profits. Types of costs. The costs of an organization are of two different types, fixed or variable. Fixed costs are those that do not change on the basis of the level of production or sales. An organization needs to pay certain bills every month like rent, electricity, interest on borrowed money and the salaries of their executives. Irrespective of the organization's output, these bills must be paid every month. Variable costs are those that are directly related to the costs of production and change based on the level of production. Every motorcycle produced by Honda involves a cost of various parts and other inputs. These costs are the same for each unit produced, but are called variable costs because the total of these costs change with an increase or decrease in the number of units produced. Total costs are the sum of fixed costs and variable costs for a product at a specific level of production. Organizations need to closely monitor their costs. If its costs are more than its competitors, the organization will either need to charge a higher price or earn lesser profits. This puts the organization at a competitive disadvantage. Costs at different levels of production. To be able to price intelligently, an organization must understand how its costs change with different levels of production. Let us take the example of company X that builds a plant to produce 1,000 mobile phones in a day. The costs for every mobile phone will be high if the company produces only a few mobile phones in a day, but as production increases, the average costs per mobile phone will go down. This happens because fixed costs get spread over more units, with every phone bearing a smaller share of the fixed costs. However, if X produces more than 1,000 phones every day, its average costs will start increasing as the production facility becomes inefficient. Machines will not be free and the workers would have to wait for their turn. There would be more frequent breakdowns as the machines would need to run longer than what they were designed for. If X believes they could sell up to 2,000 phones in a day, it would be advisable for them to build a larger plant. The unit cost of producing 2,000 phones would be lesser than the unit cost of producing 1,000 phones. A plant with a capacity of 3,000 phones per day would be even more efficient. However, a plant producing 4,000 phones every day might be less efficient due to the increasing diseconomies of scale. What this means is that there would be too many workers to manage, too much paperwork to slow things down, and other things that would make the plant inefficient. The company needs to calculate their long run average costs or LRAC and choose to build a plant that produces that maximum production capacity with the highest efficiency, but only if the demand is strong enough to support that level of production. Costs as a function of production experience. Let us assume that company X has built a plant with a capacity of producing 3,000 mobile phones every day. As it gains experience in producing these phones, it will learn how to do it better. Workers will become familiar with their machines and their process and find ways of doing things quicker and better. The processes will get streamlined and the company will buy better equipment. This will lead to a decline in average costs. If the average cost of producing the first 1 lakh phones is 2,000 rupees, by the time they produce 2 lakh phones, the average cost per unit would have decreased to 1,900 rupees. Once its accumulated production experience reaches 4 lakh units, its average unit cost would come down to 1,600 rupees. This drop in the average unit cost that comes from accumulated production experience is known as the learning curve or the experience curve. A downward sloping curve has great significance for an organization. This production cost per unit is going to fall if that organization produces and sells more during a given time period. It will fall faster. There should be enough demand in the market for higher output. If company X wants to take advantage of the downward sloping experience curve, they must get a large percentage of the market share in the early part of the product's life cycle. For achieving a large market share, they will need to keep the prices of their mobile phones low, thereby increasing their sales. The costs will decrease further because of gaining more experience, and then they can lower their prices even further. Several companies have successfully built winning strategies around the experience curve. However, experience curve pricing has a few major risks. The product could get an image of being a cheap product due to aggressive pricing. This strategy assumes that competitors will not cut their own prices to meet their price cuts. An organization following this strategy could get busy in building volume using one technology. During this period, their competitor might find a new technology that helps them lower their prices even further and gain a larger market share. Organizational considerations. The leadership of an organization must decide who should set prices within their organization. Companies handle pricing in several different ways. In small organizations, it is generally the senior leadership that sets prices instead of the marketing or the sales team. In bigger organizations, pricing is taken care of by division managers or product line managers. In industrial markets, sales teams could negotiate prices with their customers, but only within a certain price range. Senior leadership establishes the objectives and policies of pricing, and in most cases retains the final approving authority for price proposed by their sales teams. Production managers, sales managers, accountants, and finance managers have an influence on pricing. Summary. Price is the amount of money paid for a product or a service. It is the sum of the values that consumers pay for having or being able to use the product or service. All organizations must set up a certain price for all their products and services. An organization's pricing decisions are impacted by factors that are internal to it as well as external. Internal factors that affect pricing decisions, marketing objectives. An organization must decide on its strategy for their products before setting its price. If an organization has chosen its target market and its market positioning after careful analysis, then its pricing will not be complicated. An organization could look at additional objectives while setting the price. If they have clarity about their objectives, it becomes easier to set the price. Some common objectives that organizations seek are survival, increasing their market share, maximizing their current profit, and leadership in product quality. Marketing mix strategy. The marketing mix of an organization consists of several tools that they use to achieve their marketing objectives. Pricing is just one of them. Decisions on price need to be in sync with several other aspects like distribution, product design, and promotion campaigns in order to create a marketing program that is both consistent and effective. Costs. Costs provide the base for the price that an organization can charge for its products or services. Ideally, an organization would like to charge a price that covers all its costs of production, distribution, and sales for a product and provides an equitable rate of return for all the efforts made and the risks taken. Organizational considerations. The leadership of an organization must decide who should set prices within their organization based on certain considerations. This is all we have for part 1 of pricing considerations and approaches. Hope the session was informative. We will meet again in the next episode with part 2. Till then, take care and goodbye.